run the gauntlet and make a miracle run to a World Championship spot?
Certainly possible, considering the rise and fall that we've seen out of Moist. But at the same time, the big question for me is how does that Team Liquid defense handle Moist if they are in form? So I think I would expect Moist to come out here guns blazing and really put that Liquid defense through their paces.
Two teams that are very similar. Defensively, they give up around 8 shots, and they don't let many of them through into their net. As Vatira coming across, trying to bring one deep into the zone. He'll get a piece of Oski, who hasn't had the offensive performance he'd like so far in this event. Only 3 goals, while his teammates Ato and Achronic both have 9 and 10 respectively. Oski falling way into his net. That's where he's going to have to make his presence felt, but he got caught on the ramp coming out, and Vatira will score.
Hello, Vatira. Great start here from Moist. Not a bad touch from Oski, but unfortunately you can see a little stop and go from Vatira. Just checks the ball up, stalls it out, and Ato, no chance to save that one on the goal line. Ripped to the top of the net. Great play from Vatira.
So the first goal belongs to Moist. They do not give up many leads. Rise coming in for another. Achronic got in the way. And now Joyo can't follow this up. And Vatira had to pump the brakes and just wait. Another pass across. Then, boy, there's just no downtime against Moist Esports. It's amazing that they've only scored an average of 2 goals a game in this tournament. But then you look at them defensively, and they are as stingy as anybody. This one gets through, though, and we'll get one through. I know you talk about a team's defense. They concede a goal. I'm telling you, we're cursed.
Oh, and it's not a pretty goal either. Rise just surprised that Joyo comes up completely empty on that one. That's not the most difficult save to make. Just a big blunder there from Moist. Unlucky, but Liquid, you'll take him when you can get him.
Absolutely. Ato's 10th goal of the tournament. Now Rise trying to answer that one right back. He's had a couple decent looks. Now Vatira taking his time looking for a second goal, but Ato's in the way. And Achronic waiting in the back. He will bring this one down to Oski looking for his 4th goal. He'll leave it back for Ato. Patient play out of Liquid early here. But it looks like Moist is going to weather the storm, though they might have been a little nonchalant coming out of the zone. And Joyo had to hold his ground for the save.
Great movement for Liquid on the ball. The only problem is that the shot was just coming from so far away. A lot of time to react for Moist, and another one pumped off the wall. Rise and contested with an easy poke away, but both teams moving the ball incredibly effectively over on the offensive half, getting the ball in positions where they can take shots on target.
Ato right back where this came from, and Joyo tried to set up Rise. Point blank range, got this through, and Vatira comes in to clean it up.
I got worried there for a second. Vatira may not have the time with Joyo taking this one away or Rise taking it away from Joyo, excuse me, but thankfully nobody in position for Liquid. They all got beat by the challenge on the back wall, and Vatira just enough time to come in there, squeeze that one past the goal line. Great opening from both teams. Really enjoying the show that they're putting on in terms of the offensive output.
Oh, Moist right now just happy that they got any goals against Liquid. After the last time they played, a perfect sweep from Team Liquid. Achronic going after Rise. Did not connect, and Vatira will send this away. Vatira recently putting out a call to have an RLCS LAN of some kind, either a World Championship or a major or anything in France, and it feels like, Achilles, that'd be kind of long overdue. I mean, you look at the French evolution in the RLCS, even going back to the days of the Rival Series where they really burst into the scene. This event alone, in the Super 16, there were 15 starting French players.
Well, one never knows. Maybe one day we wind up out there in France for a World Championship. Oh my goodness, great shot on target. Huge save from Ato, and a breakout chance here for Liquid if they can get the ball through Joyo. That's a great pass to Achronic, flow to the corner. Here's Ato, and unfortunately Rise has enough time to recover, but it would be fun to have a live event out in France, and look forward to it maybe one day.
Achronic looking forward to a save from Rise. Unfortunately for him, as that one easily dealt with. Vatira getting through Oski, but Ato is there trying to find Achronic in the middle of the field, out from the corner. And Vatira got a piece of this to set up Rise, and they'll just kind of slow things down against Liquid just a little bit, and maybe just enough that everybody can get boosted up, back in position, and lead another charge downfield that Chronic has to dish out to the corner. And Oski trying to catch up with this. He does. He beat Joyo. Only one more to beat, and he almost did. It really did beat Vatira, but unfortunately the shot just off the near side.
The one time you don't get the lucky bounce off the post would have been a beautiful goal, but now you're looking at Liquid and how they're moving the ball out of their own half on defense as well. Also quite effective. And in general, I like their stance in the midfield. They've got a lot of decent pressure, and they're not really allowing too many dangerous counterattacks from Moist. So I think in general, Liquid, moving the ball a little bit better on both sides of the pitch than Moist is.
Rise going after Oski. Oski kind of ducked into the net to avoid him and made the stop there. Joyo against a Chronic. A Chronic has this all day. Dropped down to Oski, and he was looking for a toe. Again, the shooting hasn't been there for Oski. He tried to dish that one off. It was intercepted. And now Vatira with 13 seconds. One more clear needed. Rise, can he follow this one up? No, a Chronic got in the way. What a recovery out of a Chronic to at least keep Liquid alive here in the closing seconds. Atto over to Oski. Off the backboard. It's got to be a Chronic, and Joyo sends it aside. Moist take a game off Liquid.
Not enough time for them to really try and execute a 0-second play. Great couple of goals for Moist in game 1, but you wonder about game 2. I did like the ball movement. Liquid, I think, showing a lot of good promise here in this one, but Moist standing pretty firm. Apart from the one goal that they gave up, really was a complete fluke. I'll consider this one a shutout in my book. So good defensive game for Moist in general, even if they didn't necessarily get to all the shots on target that they would have liked, despite having, 5-7-9 for them. But in general, Team Liquid's defense, pretty solid.
Yeah, 6 shots on or around the target for Team Liquid. Only the 2 saves required for Moist Esports. Liquid probably going to feel like maybe they let this one get away. They also let Vatira get going. He nearly doubled his goal count for the event in that one game. He is a force to be reckoned with when he is moving downhill like this. And now we go on to Aquadome, and I worry about Liquid's chances. Obviously, they are quite capable of handling Moist Esports, so we'll see if they can bounce back on Aquadome in game 2. But it's going to be an uphill battle, I think, for Liquid if they don't get those shots on target. You can have 8 or 9 shots. Cool. You have to make the defense work a little bit, and I don't think they made Moist work as much as they would have liked to have made them work.
Gotta agree with that. And it really does come down to, sure, you're looking pretty solid at the midfield line, and dipped out. Nice steal from Vatira just coming across the goal line, but here's the real problem. When Team Liquid do get pushed back onto their own third like this, it's pretty efficient in terms of possession for Moist Esports here at the midfield line, but that's a little misplay from Vatira. It ends up going straight back to Joyo, but Liquid having to spend a lot of time regaining possession whenever they get one punched over their head in the midfield line.
Atto with Oski to his right. He'll fall in behind. A Chronic is up ahead as well, and Joyo still in the way. Joyo defensively has been great, but he let things slip here. Oski will roll one home. His 4th goal of the Super 16 as things just break down with a little physicality.
Oh, and I think Rise just missed the demo on Oski. Flipped into him in the corner, but I think his wheels ended up kissing the roof of his car instead of the nose contacting the back. And that means Oski just completely uncontested, and pretty much Moist get caught handing the cookie jar right there, a little too far forward.
Let that be a lesson for any aspiring casters out there. If you want a high-scoring offensive battle, just talk about a team's defense. They'll concede a goal immediately.
Works every time.
Yeah. So, chat, I can be bought here. Here goes Atto. Looking for the double no. Oski there, and Rise just in his face. Trying to get one back in front, but Joyo's got it away, and he can follow this play up with a toe coming in. Oski on the weak side will score 2-0.
Gotta be in. Rise is the guy kind of hung out to dry here. He's trying to find some boost in his own half, and is really hoping that Joyo was going to be able to get that ball through the midfield line, or at least buy a little more time to get some boost. And unfortunately, absolutely demolished on that contest up above the box. And Liquid up 2 now. Rise may get one back here with a little help, and unfortunately, Oski able to poke that one out towards the middle.
Moist requiring a lot more effort defensively now as a Chronic lobbing one to the backboard, and right there is Rise to collect it. Vatira to his left, trying to bring it over, and got through Ato. Vatira, soft shot on. Ato had to jump in front of a Chronic. They're all bunched up right now for Liquid. Only feels like a matter of time before Moist will score, and instead, Ato comes away from the pack with possession, and somehow Liquid keep Moist off the scoreboard. Only for now, though. Ato back in. Here comes Vatira, and an opportunity after a demo to at least get forward. Rise lets Oski go by, and now he's got Joyo waiting for a pass. That'll get there, but Ato is there as well, and that altered the shot.
Really like the lines Team Liquid were taking there on defense. Oski slowing down the counterattack of Moist just enough. Even if he didn't come up with a challenge, it froze Rise out there in the midfield and prevented him from taking a decent shot on target. And Moist going to have to go back to the drawing board here with just under halfway to go. See if they can find two.
All right, Rise set one up on a tee for a Chronic, and I think Moist are kind of lucky not to be down 3-0 after that. He kind of backed off, and a Chronic didn't put one on target. Here's Atos bringing Oski downfield until he realized Joyo had him beat by a mile. Oski has to recover, and does so, falling back to his backboard.
Long punt game, very effective from Team Liquid, buying them a lot of time. Some deep rotations. They're in a pretty safe position defensively. Trying to get physical to break it up as Moist. And even still not enough. Ato, I think if that one had been on target, there we go. He will correct. They will get 3 down, and that's Moist just trying to press to see if they can make something happen and getting beat at the midfield line.
It's the second goal of this affair for Ato as he continues to kind of terrorize Moist in this, in this split in general, but this series, he has been kind of a headache for them. And what effort Moist has had to put in defensively been mostly to try and keep Ato at bay. Saw the great support from his brother Faco, former player that I can't recall if he ever actually made it into the Rivals. I know he was highly seeded a couple times and a favorite to make it, I think, once. I don't think he ever had he certainly never had quite the success that his brother's having now as he watches his brother give up a goal to Vatira. Gets Moist back into this here, and a great solo effort by Vatira.
Yeah, just really diving at it to see if he could make the play. Thankfully, a missed touch from Liquid gave Vatira the chance to actually get that flip reset, turn it in towards the net. So, a minute 14, there's definitely hope here, but you need a string of great pushes from Moist. And if anything, this is an opportunity, but Joyo goes straight through a Chronic, but unfortunately, the ball deflected out into the corner. And Moist working real hard here. Oski uncontested with a clear will waste a lot of time, though.
Joyo got this through. Rise is there, but so too is Ato. And can he get around Vatira? No, Vatira just bullies his way through the corner, and Joyo just a little bit slower than Oski there. Still a 2-goal deficit for Moist to overcome. Almost 3 again, as a Chronic was right there on the doorstep. Now here goes Joyo, again moving quickly. Ato couldn't get a piece of that. Rise beaten a little bit by Oski as that goes out to the corner. That's good enough defensively, but now in front, Ato with the big clear, got around Vatira, and that's the break that Liquid needed. Try to put it away. Rise keeps it out, and there's still a chance. Joyo for Vatira. They combine for a shot. Sent away. The ingenuity was there, but the result was not. Team Liquid a little bit better in game 2 as Ato will make one more clear, and a furious comeback charge dies with just the 1 goal from Vatira as Liquid tie the series.
Whew. Huge game for Liquid, but a close shave at that. Yeah, it's by 2, but a couple of opportunities quite dangerous there towards the end of the game. Moist just missing a pinch. Fortunate that Rise didn't have enough boost to actually execute the shot on the open net. Liquid very fortunate to not have to play a 0-second situation, but one way or the other, you gotta love how they played this one. Again, a lot of saves to be made on the Liquid side. Moist putting on some decent shots on target. A few more shots for Liquid as well, however, 6 for Oski and 2 between a Chronic and a Toe back the other way. But in general, Moist really focused on getting a lot of those big scores in the midfield, forcing Liquid to make sequences of saves, and Liquid's defense standing pretty tall. That's what I was worried about, and they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, numbers rarely tell the entire story of a team's run up to a certain point. Both Vatira and Oski, by far the fewest goals among their teams, but they are the ones taking center stage here. So Oski with a couple of goals there. Vatira's got all 3 goals in this series for Moist Esports. Somebody else has got to step up. I mean, we know how great Vatira was going into the Winter Major, and then the historic performance from Rise. We need to see some of that out of Rise here as we go to DFH Stadium for Game 3 to break a 1-all tie.
Ooh, and a chance here early for Moist. They've got a pretty decent position, and they're freezing the defenders. Vatira really putting them through their paces, and unfortunately not actually able to find a lane to get that ball towards the middle, but huge demo. Rise missing the second one and picking up right where they left off, trying to put that pressure right in front of that Liquid net.
Rise trying to launch one downfield where Vatira was waiting. He's a decoy, though, and Oski still made the save. I'll tell you what, though, Moist have been able to kind of freeze the Liquid defense just enough to open up some opportunities. They just have not broken through the ice. Here's Joyo with Rise waiting underneath, and Oski with the save again.
Oski absolutely dialed in on the goal line, understands exactly where they're going. Floats one up for a Chronic. That one's just out of reach. And Liquid with their first chance over on the offensive side of things. A toe working his way. It's actually through everybody, and nobody's in position here for Liquid. Should be a clear.
We're seeing Atto go way up to the ceiling, try to make some desperation stops multiple times. Hasn't been caught out of position yet as Oski hit the crossbar. Atto missed well wide. Oski turns and scores.
Gotta wonder where everybody on Moist ran off to again. It's Rise all on his lonesome. I think he just didn't even know Atto was sitting right there in the midfield. I think he tried to catch that ball and then saw him out of the corner of his eye as he turned to actually face the ball and tried to recover and do what he could, but unfortunately just getting crushed on the challenge. And Moist again down early, but Rise one-on-one versus Oski. Little fake and nice recovery from a Chronic, able to squeeze in there behind him on the goal line.
Team Liquid has been very good defensively this entire split, and Moist got to be feeling a little frustrated now after the past game and a half. Joyo couldn't get this off the side. Rise will, but Oski's right there, so Vatira has to come racing back, try to waterfall this down. It didn't work out. Vatira will repel, but only temporarily. Here comes a Chronic again. Gave up that midfield boost. Nobody's bothered to take it. Rise will get it on his way out. Can they spring him downfield? No. They had to make a save, and Joyo couldn't hang in the air long enough, and Oski's reign of terror continues.
Huge game for Oski here. Little floater, huge setup from a Chronic as well. Really taking it away from the defense, and Joyo going to be frustrated that he couldn't make that one. He had a pretty decent dismount, but unfortunately only had 3 boosts, so he had to take his best guess. Unfortunately wasn't able to make the reaction save. 2-0 for Liquid early on, before halftime even in Game 3. And Moist, pretty much the exact same scenario as Game 2. Wouldn't be surprised to see him press, get 8-9 shots, and nothing again, because on that goal line, Oski, an absolute menace, dumped into the middle, and he will get dunked through. A Chronic gonna collect the pass from a toe. There we go. So too many A's.
And a good pass that it was, too. Just let a Chronic run into this in stride. His momentum carries him through the challenge. We talk about maturity all the time, Achieves, when it comes to pro players and their mentality. This team being as young as they are, actually both these teams being incredibly young, should not be this good. There should be somebody there to kind of put them in their place, and there isn't. These are the second and third best teams in the European region.
Oh, to be young and amazing again.
Oh, I know, right? If only. Being young, I was never amazing at anything. Here goes Rise up top with a Chronic right there. Again, just it's something to marvel when you think about how other young players kind of fold under the pressure, and these guys, especially Moist, with their incredible performance at the Winter Major. So Chronic will have one out, Vatira all the way across, intercepted by Oski, and here comes Liquid again, only as far as Rise.
Oh, he needs a lot of help for this one. Boy, I don't know if Moist have it in the tank. It's just, they're really struggling. They're not connecting physically over on the other side. Yeah, it happens right there, but now how do you regain the ball? That's the problem. You can't. Really loving the Liquid defense here.
Atto jump in front. That's served up, though, for Rise. Joyo will tee off and get him back within 2.
Well, the Physicality connects with the midfield line this time around, and Atto, no support. Oski having to dodge. The Physicality coming through in the corner as well. Has to take a little bit of a delayed line back to the net and just push the ball out into the middle. Tons of space to shoot with, and Joyo did not disappoint.
Oski has figuratively stood on his head to keep Moist off the scoreboard up until that point. Probably going to be wondering, hey, can I get a little help here? Coming up on the final minute, and a chance for Moist to cut the lead even more, but it's Rise who has to intercept at midfield and reset for Moist Esports. Oski and Necrotic, though, not quite on the same page. This is that window that Moist need, and Oski slams it shut. My goodness. Solo effort
you
gets
got
it
a goal!
downfield. Atto will score. How about Oski? They don't have an answer for the kid.
Oh, Rise, that's a great fake challenge. And he collects the boost, but Oski plays it to perfection. Understood. Rise was coming in for the fake, just flipped to the corner, had the perfect timing, got the pinch pass out into the middle around the back line, and he is cruising.
Did almost everything right except get the ball, and then Vatira answers right back. And imagine had they not conceded a goal a moment ago. Still a 2-goal deficit now with 47 seconds.
First off, what a shot from Vatira. That is a disgusting angle. Second off, unlucky for Team Liquid there. A little bit of a backfire trying to get that ball moving onto the blue half. Just close this one out and you end up screwing over your teammate. Tough stuff.
Oh, they caught Vatira coming in and he missed wide. That was the opportunity for Moist. Get back within 1. And they've let it go by the wayside. Another chance, though. Joyo with Atto just waiting, and he'll come out to challenge. Joyo again. Vatira coming in over Oski, and Oski got there first by mere milliseconds. But it's enough to perhaps put this away. 20 seconds still. Rise moving forward. He's got Vatira, but he's also got Atto. Another aerial challenge up by the ceiling. Atto comes through. Playmaker, ball game.
Oh, you can see Vatira like, no, we lost the challenge, and just the desperate half flip and a prayer into the corner. And a Chronic, thank you very much. We know you can't reach over there. Great placement. Team Liquid coasting into game 4. They're going to be up 2-1. Moist are giving it a pretty fair shake, but as it's gone on, fewer and fewer shots. I thought they were going to have another pretty decent offensive performance here, but only 5 shots compared to the 7 or 8 that they've gotten the previous 2 games. So really got to be scratching your head here if you're Moist. And the big answer why that's been going on, Oski, absolute menace right now.
He's been absurd. 4 goals and the amazing assist that set up the 4th goal a little while ago. That solo effort deep into the corner. We will probably see it on the replay coming up in just a moment. But right now, what you see on your screen is 5 goals, all assisted, including the highlight from Atto with the playmaker in game 3. And Moist Esports got to be wondering, how are they going to slow down Team Liquid?
It's tough. I mean, what it looks like to me is, Moist is so willing to be aggressive and commit, and there's that pass from Oski out of the corner, just a beautiful pinch into the middle, but Moist just, it seems like they okay, we're going to go out of the midfield, we're going to challenge, and it's going to be okay, we're going to be going back and forth, and that's fine. But there's one moment where they just absolutely get blown up on a challenge. Like, yeah, the physicality when they're on offense is good. They're opening up space, putting decent shots on target, scoring a few goals here or there. But if they're expecting something and they're wrong, Moist is so far out of position. And Liquid's like, cool, perfect opportunity for a punish. And they have capitalized almost every time. It's been brutal.
I know it's not a stat that we track, but I wonder what the success rate is on Atto's challenges when he is upside down on the ceiling, because he has been up there more than anybody, just diving at people, and it's got to be kind of off-putting for an attacker. You're like, okay, I've got this. Why are you there? And it works, as Atto's shot is sent away by Rise. Speaking of being in the air, he had to go up, and Vatira cut off by a Chronic. But here comes Moist, looking for a stronger start than they've had really at any point in this series.
Oh, man. Wasting no time as well. They're just trying to be faster to the ball and make some aggressive reads and touches, but the only problem is Liquid's playing kind of far back, so they're like, sure, hit it. We'll just go over that way.
Chronic tried to slow it up. Now Atto trying to go underneath Joyo. That's a great job by Joyo, who's had to kind of hang in the air and defy gravity a few times to try and shut down Liquid in this series. It worked that time. now we'll see what Rise has in store. That's just kind of a giveaway to Oski, and that's probably the worst case scenario. That's the last guy you want on the ball right now if you're Moist. There's Joyo making the save, and Rise with a full tank of boost. Trying to catch this one on the side, and again, intercepted by Atto, who just does not care.
There's no way through that midfield line. Everybody's challenge game on Liquid has been brutally consistent against how Moist are trying to move the ball. But this one's still well within striking distance, still tied. Moist definitely not allowing a lot of shots on target early on. Yeah, there's 3 registered, but they haven't been particularly dangerous and easy to handle, so Moist got to be feeling at least like they're in a better spot than they have been the previous 2 games where they were down 2 fairly early. Rise with a chance, one-on-one, and Oski will deny. Joyo will collect. Unfortunate for Oski, the save tips off the inside of the post and goes right back into the mix. Huge first save, though.
Again, Oski got to be asking, can I get some help back here? You watch him driving in the net, you think there's absolutely no shot that he actually reads this, right? No, he sure did. But still, the shot goes through on the follow-up, and Moist have a lead. But for how long? Joyo at the back making the initial stop, and he'll slow things down, waiting for Rise to get that demolition. And he almost got a Chronic on the respawn coming back through. He guessed right, but the timing was just off.
What do you do now? First time, I think, in the series, if not game 1, where you get to see Liquid play from behind with a decent amount of time to do it. And I'm curious to see if Moist continue to try and extend that lead, or if they just think, let's get to game 5. Let's try and turtle up a little bit here.
Oh, Oski misread that out of the corner. He is human after all, but a Chronic bails him out. And now Oski trying to get back to normal, but Tira waited him out, and a Chronic will clear this away. Clever plays, but results in ultimately nothing, as Atto will serve one up to Vatira to try and send out, and the teams play volleyball back and forth, waiting for somebody to flinch. Atto trying to pinch one, and Joyo just got a piece of it. That works out, though, for Liquid. It's a Chronic in the air, trying to get his second goal denied, and Atto can't bring this central just yet. Oh, he did for a Chronic who tried to fake them out, but Rise got the clear.
They tried to double dip, a little stutter step, and they almost got Moist, but they were ready this time. Unfortunately, that's a huge pinch back towards the middle, and Atto just going to float that one out towards the midfield line. Moist trying to figure out if they can extend here, but it does appear like they're not pressing super hard. Definitely. Oh, well, that's just unlucky. Fake challenge baits out a poor touch from Team Liquid, and Moist say, thank you very much. We will extend here.
Atto coming in. Oski had jumped, and that just made it impossible to recover. Nobody else in the vicinity. 2-0 now for Moist Esports, trying to battle back and tie this series up, effectively making it a best of 3. Oski intercepted by Joyo. Had there been somebody across the way, that would have been a great ball, but the Chronic was actually in behind him.
And you Rise, come get it. You got a minute and a half to score.
Rocket League. There goes a Chronic as he'll bully one through and gets Liquid on the board.
Oh, man. They're like, yeah, we'll come take the ball. And then the physicality, Atto forcing 2 members of Moist to get out of the way, and somehow a Chronic able to just jump, dip, dive, dodge, duck around everybody and take the ball home with him. What a show.
My goodness, they almost got sprung for another golden opportunity, but he'll have to wait at the back now and wait his turn. Atto trying to bring one forward. A Chronic was coming up to midfield. Fortunately, Oski in position in the back. That's where it's amazing that he spent so much time on those back lines playing stellar defense and still leads the team with 4 goals. And almost tied him and almost tied this game. Now Oski got around Rise.
Oh, he got
around Joyo. Got around Vatira. Triple decker. Oski comes through.
How in the world? I mean, again, the physicality out of the corner. Rise has got to be kicking himself for just not even hitting that ball. It felt like it was pretty simple, but maybe he got a little confused on Oski's approach and started overcompensating for a touch. But Oski more than happy to collect. Oh, that's tragic if you're a Moist fan.
All that work to open up a 2-0 lead has gone by the wayside, as Oski single-handedly beats the entire Moist defense And now it's Joyo at the back.
What?
And
Why?
dunked him, but it just went wide. Oh, man. And I can imagine Joyo got a little uncomfortable in his chair for a moment as Rise tried to bring one out. Unfortunately for him, Oski's there, but Vatira got around him. Now a Chronic with 10 seconds left. Drop down in the middle. Joyo is there, and Atto will get back to make sure there's no cheap one. We could be headed for our first overtime of the series, unless Liquid have other plans. Atto not going to get to this, but Tira will. Got the flip reset, and Atto right there to stop him.
Man, what a read from Atto. Just tried to cover as many options as possible, and he succeeded. Joyo super aggressive, puts Vatira in a kind of awkward position, but he did recover, make a decent touch, even if it cost him a little bit of a bump. Now it's Rise one-on-one versus Oski, back the other way. Atto coming in for support. A Chronic will just kick that out to the sidewall to buy a little extra time for everything to reset. And OT, some sparks, but no real flame.
Of the 6 overtimes we've had today, this is the third one in a row that's been 2-2 coming in, and Oski makes the save again at the end. Another savior medal for the defensive wizard, and Atto will leave this one alone. In the corner, trying to find Oski. No, Vatira with a timely demo. This will run well wide. A Chronic off the respawn. They couldn't pinch in front. Everybody drives around the ball, and finally this goes to the corner. And Moist Esports have left one on the table here. Oski just denied by Joyo, and Rise will win the race to the boost.
It was a good idea for Moist. I'm not sure they actually could have reached it. That pinch up the field was pretty quick and headed deep into that corner. And thankfully, Team Liquid, like you said, just enough time to get themselves out of a tight spot. And overtime will continue, but Moist seeming to find a little more of a stride here. They do have 3 people forward. They're through 2 defenders, and it's over Joyo's shoulder.
Well, if Oski's not back, nobody is. He's back, and still made the save. Are you kidding me, Oski?
Even when you make a mistake mechanically, it still worked out.
I don't believe that. Atto coming through. I mean, it would just be a fate that Liquid would win this game at this point. Vatira has other plans. So does Rise. His shot's high, and Atto will sky one away. Not out of harm's way, though. Joyo had a look at it. So too does Vatira now, and he's got the tools to play with here.
Oh, my God.
Still in front, and Rise will score to tie the series.
Now that's just control from Vatira. Got the early flip reset and then was so focused on getting back behind the center of the ball. He knew if he could at least keep it close by somewhere in the middle, not let that ball get poked into the corner, there was a chance Moist could take it. Great execution from Vatira. Great follow-up from his teammate. Moist able to squeeze out a win here in Game 5, and it's been sweaty all the way through. Oski, a big problem, 5 saves, but not enough here in Game 4. It does have to go the distance.
We started the day with a 0-0 overtime. Then we went to a couple of 2-1 finishes, and now 3-3-2 finishes in a row. So I'm sorry for everybody that comes after us. You're stuck with a bunch of 4-3 overtimes the rest of the day as we look back at how Rise ended that overtime in Moist Esports' favor. Didn't put him on top of the leaderboard. That belongs to Joyo with his 4 saves and 5 shots, 5 out of the 14 that Moist put together. And that's the kind of performance we were looking for out of Moist. We've kind of been waiting this whole series for it achieves. They finally got the offense flowing to some extent, but it did take OT to tie the series.
Yeah, it's the bigger thing was the fact that they conceded that 2-0 lead. They had a lot of time, obviously, to defend it, but the way they gave it up kind of hurt. They're just happy that they got to 5 regardless, so kind of brush that one off, even if you got there in a way that made you a little bit uncomfortable. So Boys could be feeling good. That nice early cushion helped a lot in Game 4, and I don't know. I'd believe a shootout, or I'd believe 0-0 or 1-0 in Game 5.
Well, we do continue on now on to Wasteland to break this 2-all tie. This best of 7 has turned into a best of 3 for a top 3 guarantee here in the Super 16, and it almost turned into an early goal out of Moist. But now Oski will lead the charge forward. Got the second touch, and Vatira is right there to read it all the way. Boy, there's not much catching and dribbling going on here. There's just one touch and go, as Atto will sky one up, but right there is Joyo to send it away.
Yeah, pretty common tactic when Game 5 begins. feel a little bit of that extra pressure. You know this is it, and you don't want to be the one to make a mistake or think you have time to get dribbled and get dunked. Here, Vatira recognizes he does indeed have the time. Skimmed off his car with a lot of pace, though. And Moist just trying to figure out how to reset here in the midfield. That's a big miss from Oski. Chronic just really forcing Moist to use boost on defense. While not going to net any opportunities in terms of goal-scoring shot chances, it does kind of limit Moist's ability to go up and challenge effectively.
Lato will dump one in as the teams kind of jockey for position. It almost feels like a reset in the series here as everything's kind of gone back to what maybe we're used to seeing. Lower scoring, teams trying to pass the ball around a little bit more, then teams reading those passes, getting a little predictable, perhaps. Of course, a lot of familiarity. Here goes Rise.
Oh, what a fake.
Gave up the double, and Vatira's shot rings off the post. He had such a brilliant start where he scored the first 3 goals for Moist in the series, but he's gone ice cold since. And Ato's shot goes wide. Joyo might have got a piece of it.
Both teams, I mean, golden opportunities on target. One off the post, one just couldn't quite get a handle on it. Either way, locked at 0 heading towards halftime. Joyo one-on-one with Oski and forces Oski to actually give up that corner boost because he realized that maybe Joyo had a catch and a hard cut towards the middle. Vatira, huge read, buy some extra time here on defense.
Yeah, if he doesn't get there, it is 1-0. That shot was not getting stopped by anybody on the way back. Rise, powerful, clear. There's not a lot of point-to-point passing at this point now. Oski from the wing, try to drop one in. Double by Vatira and Joyo. Joyo recovers. Vatira's in the net. Now coming out and Rise. Last man back as he got back in time. Will try and lead them out of the zone unsuccessfully. Chronic is there. So too is Joyo. Moist having to work incredibly hard defensively now as Ato denied by Joyo, and he also beat Oski. That leaves Rise open net. 1-0.
Couple of stingy challenges from Joyo. Through one great recovery on the wall. You saw him actually cut to the right to get a little bit of extra height as he went into that challenge to make sure that he would have a decent line at it. And that little correction paid dividends, went straight over the top of the other guy too, and everybody on Liquid kind of scratching their heads.
Rise trying to break from the pack again. He's done so, and Vatira denied by Atel and Oski. Oh my goodness, it absolutely should be 2-0. Highway robbery keeps Liquid within reach until now. Rise will double it home.
You could see Atao sizing that one up over his shoulder. He was like, I don't think I have the time to go up the wall, so took his chances trying to read the bounce and just couldn't quite handle the over-the-shoulder read. He knew there would be pressure coming up on him. Big moment. Couldn't live up to it.
A minute 32. 2 goals. Not insurmountable at all, as Moist well knows, as Rise just got back for the save. Liquid are never out. Rise bumped away by Ato. He's got a Chronic and Oski as options. Took his own number there, and that didn't work out at all. Oski demolished, and Ato was coming up, but that clever touch put that out of his reach. Back to Oski. Oski solo effort around Okami, and Oski gets him back within 1.
That's a couple good ideas. Ato, nice little back pass to Oski, and this is all about how do you manage your boost. He only had about 50 when he caught that back pass, and it's all about that first touch. How much juice do you give it? Can you chase it down? More importantly, can you place it in the net? Yes to all 3.
Oh, this pinch is wide. Vatira's there to make it a 2-goal game again. How about Vatira's instincts to catch up to this one?
Oh, devastating as well for a Chronic. His instincts are thinking, I mean, it might just pinch and go forward, maybe straight up, and he's kind of right. It did go straight up, but then it kicked to that corner and went all the way across the pitch, and you're right. Vatira, he could sense something was up. That's a huge insurance goal.
And I think that's one that you just kind of tip your cap and go, you know what? If you can read it, you can have it. Vatira on target there, maybe a little high. A Chronic credited with the save. Back to the 2-goal lead, though, as Moist were in danger of watching another 2-goal lead evaporate. The Chronic Intercepted by Joyo. Ato's right there, though. He's got Oski. That's his trouble. Vatira sends it away out of traffic. Oski at least trying to keep this alive, but another good clear by Vatira. And that may run Liquid out of time unless they can get downfield real quick. And they might just. That's got to be on point, and it is. Good back pass for Vatira. And they've just got Liquid chasing their own tail here. Down to 10 seconds. Vatira in front. Demo on a Chronic. It is just about hopeless. Rise will pick it off, and that's going to do it for Game 5.
So kind of a shootout, but a one-sided one. 4 goals for Moist in Game 5, and a couple of big breakaway chances. Some challenges gone awry, and the beautiful show from Liquid all amounts to naught. Picked apart at the end. Rise, Joyo, and Vatira. Vengeance for the perfect sweep in the previous matchup.
Yeah, so far, as Liquid opened up a 5-2 can in Game 3, and they've finally been paid back. Moist gets it in Game 5, and they're that much closer now. Going on match point, trying to put Liquid down into the lower bracket. The loser here would face Evil Geniuses, as Liquid has taken a timeout, and I'm wondering.
This was 5. Oh my gosh!
You know, I wasn't gonna hang you out to dry there. I was just gonna kind of keep on going. Like, no, we're good. Yes,
I thought that was the end right there. Oh my
that
goodness.
means we get timeouts, and that means Liquid's gonna take one. We haven't seen many timeouts in recent times. We've seen some teams just kind of opt to go, you know what? That minute in between games, that's fine. We don't need the extra minute. But looks like Liquid will opt to use that, and is going to get up and walk around, at least a non-zero number of them, as we get ready for the 6th game. We'll go to Neo Tokyo with Moist Esports on match point, trying to get to the upper bracket finals, where they would play the winner of our next series between BDS and Endpoint.
Oh, man. Well, with this paradigm shifting realization for me.
hey listen, I called the 1-0 game like it was overtime 2 weeks ago. So, you know, whatever.
I do think this is a pretty decent timeout. I actually don't think that there's a lot that Liquid needs to talk about. I think they realized they just got a couple of balls put over their shoulder and got put in some really tough situations. So, and I think they know that they're in a decent spot here, and I think they can count this one as kind of another fluke. Sort of like, I believe it was Game 1 was, where they just had a couple of challenges just go straight through them for whatever reason. So I think Rise, Vatira, and Joyo, obviously in a decent spot. You're never going to complain getting yourself onto match point here, but you know that you can't expect another hand-me win like you got there in Game 5. I mean, Ato just getting caught a little far forward, not able to read a ball over the shoulder. And even then, there was no guarantees. Liquid was pressing, and you just caught him trying to get a little too much done with not a lot of time on the clock. So that's 2 games in a row, though, where that early lead has paid off really nicely for Moist, because it has forced Liquid to really try and press, and that's really when that's been the jump all over him for Moist. So come out here swinging again. Who knows? Maybe Moist, if they can't equalize early, they probably find themselves in a similar position, just get picked apart.
Well, we are just about ready to go. As soon as we get all of Team Liquid back, we will begin Game 6. You saw on the cams for Moist Esports there. Hood up, clutch up. Time to close out the series as we go to Neo Tokyo. Vatira going to try to get the offense rolling again. He had gone cold. He added a big one at the end of Game 5. And now we're underway in what could be the final game before the match that I think a lot of teams in the region are kind of waiting for between BDS and Endpoint. That follows immediately after this. Azato will launch one downfield, try to get to the defense snapping. Chronic will finish the job.
You said catch the defense napping. They kind of caught Joyo thinking he had time to grab the midfield boost, and he knew instantly he had to head straight back to net. And to be fair, to his credit, Joyo was pretty close on that read, but he just didn't have enough in the tank to actually get all the way up there. And they will be justly punished. So Liquid, the ones out in front, and a Chronic trying to find 2. He gets over the top of him again, and he'll jam it off the bar. There's Oski. It's 2-0 for Liquid.
Well, we can throw this stat out the window. Direct has given us another just amazing gem. In Europe and North America, teams that have perfect swept another team are 4-0 in the next series they play against them. Right now, it's Liquid after the perfect sweep of Moist earlier in this split. Trying
well,
to
they're
come
going
back.
7.
And oh my goodness, can we just queue up Champions Field already?
Oh my gosh, this is devastating. Oski just threw the car at it, skipped straight sideways, and the Chronic's like, cool, I went for boost. I'm in the midfield now. I'm ready. Well, we'll take that one. Oh no. I mean,
You know, it's low-hanging fruit with these two names, but yes, when it rains, it pours. And oh boy. Well, here goes Rise. It's an open net. Is anybody going to play defense here today?
Defense is a crutch. It's overrated. Throw everyone in the server at the ball and good things will happen. And that is Moist mentality at the moment. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. But there is that does feed nicely into the very light silver lining to the very dark cloud of the 0-3 start in 30 seconds. You've now got 420 to go back and find 2, and that's make it 415 to find 1.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. This goes in.
Oh,
an
there's no
RLCS
boost.
match.
Oh, Oski
Whoopsies.
rotating through his corner was hoping that boost would spawn, and it just looked at him as he called out for help and said no.
Both teams are averaging over 2.5 goals per game this series. Here we are in a 3-2 game in 45 seconds in. Are you kidding me? Joyo, you got around a Chronic. And so this means that Moist is about to score, but Eto will at least pretend to stop the tide as Vatira is all the way back, and he'll get a full boost and kick that out towards mid, and Eto was waiting for it. Now things have finally settled down. I think the offenses have realized, all right, we gave the people what they wanted. Now let's go play a normal game of Rocket League. Rise to the backboard, and Eto will just catch this easily. There is no boost for Rise to find anywhere at all. He's scrambling around looking for some on the way back, and he found some to make that clear with.
And you know, looking at this game in Game 6 compared to Games 1 through 3, all that gorgeous ball movement from teams going laterally, finding people to really crisscross the pitch with, completely evaporated. You touched on it a little bit in the previous game. It's one touch and go. And this is all about, do you have the quality first touch? Do you have the car control to follow it up? Can you really put those defenders through their paces by yourself? And I think personally, if I'm going to pick a team to outwit the others, I'm going to pick Moist.
Oh, Eto on target. Rise with the save. Now Chronic, just a little bit slower than Vatira there. Vatira had the height advantage. And now Rise thinking about it. He will turn around, and we wondered, you know, Chronic was kind of waiting to see, is he ever going to turn? He did, so Chronic peeled off the play. And now at the halfway mark, feels like it's been a whole week since we've seen a goal. Thank you, Rise. We're all tied up with half a game to go.
Oh, one of the rare opportunities in RLCS where you're down by 3 and you find the equalizer. Now to make things more interesting, you've still got half a game to go. You could have just not scored. We could have just been 0-0 at this point. But no, we had to have a 3-goal comeback.
Rise with a natural hat trick to bring this back level. He's got 9 goals in the series. Said earlier, somebody needed to help out Vatira. We wanted to see the Rise that showed up in LA. He's here. Liquid should be very, very afraid. A Chronic couldn't get the second touch. That still leaves it for Oski, and Vatira with the point-blank save, trying to spring Joyo downfield, and Eto got there first, and Rise gave it a look, but he'll wait a moment. Very patient play out of the Moist striker, and a Chronic will just give this one right back up to Vatira. I think it was ill-advised. They were under no pressure at all, and Oski now forced to work a little extra.
Great midfield boost control for Moist at the moment. However, that's a huge challenge from Eto. That will reset the positioning completely. However, it only matters if your midfield defense is set up to the task. And unfortunately for them, Team Liquid just bombed out of a challenge, and they're right in the situation they just were in.
These teams have scored 15 goals each. Rise with the save. And now Oski try to drop down to Eto. No, take it himself, and Rise makes that stop as well. Vatira trying to spring Rise down the field. He's looking for boost on the other side. That means there's nobody else but Joyo to make the save, and he does. Just barely got there. That was a scary moment defensively for Moist. It worked out. Now Eto looking for Oski. Could not connect. And Oski having to resort to, again, being the defensive star of Team Liquid, as Moist have finally kept him off the scoreboard to a reasonable degree.
And Moist got to be careful. They are starting to try and increase the pace they want to play at, but that communication certainly taking a bit of a hit. And they may find themselves in a situation that they found themselves early on in this series where you just go a little too hard, expect a little too much, and you get caught out of position, and they'd like to end it right here. Big fake, and it'll work out. Rise crisscrosses the defenders. The misdirection gets it done as Vatira gets his own pass and just smashes one off the floor with a big pinch to the left side of the net.
They all got caught on ball cam like, all right, we're going to sit here and try to defend this. It didn't work for me in 2016. It's not going to work for them in 22. Here goes a Chronic. Try to tie it back up. He almost did. That's how shot deflected. Now, Oski,
can he get it?
Can he land the double?
Oh!
He can. And Vatira kept him out. The ultimate payback at the end of the series. And now Rise trying to put it away, but no. 7 seconds for a Chronic. No. Oski to the backboard. Joyo's got it. And away from danger. Most importantly, Atto with one more look. A Chronic up the ladder.
Ooh.
Joyo can stop on this backboard. Vatira's got the clear. And a Chronic just kept it in the air. Atto without a Chronic. Oski, no. And Atto is not going to get there. And Moist Esports survives a scare in 6.
Liquid fought for it, but eventually the 0-second boost game came back to haunt them. Just not enough to get the job done. Moist executing on that physicality in the midfield, taking away the one person who might have had enough to actually make something happen. 2 people, not enough to crack Moist. Huge save from Vatira at 0 seconds. He had to dodge a demo to get the job done. What a show from Moist. Now I can say it. Now they get vengeance. They will knock off Liquid.
Yes, they do. And thanks in large part, of course, yes, Vatira came up huge at the end. But there you see the numbers, 773. And that's just the whole series, really, for Rise. A hat trick there, a natural hat trick, in fact, after conceding the 3 goals. And we're all thinking, all right, we're 3 goals in 30 seconds. Let's just go next and whatever. No, Rise said absolutely not. Brought it back single-handedly, and then Vatira finished the job in a 4-3 win on Neo Tokyo. Moist Esports advanced to the upper bracket finals, championship Sunday, tomorrow. Again, looking at maybe another shot at BDS, unless Endpoint can beat them here.
They almost forget they were down 0-3 with 4:30 on the clock.
It's amazing. I mean, we don't see many 3-goal comebacks, but at least they gave up the 3 goals, you know, at the start of the game.
Oh, boy. That was a show, Stacks.
It was. I don't know. I don't know how BDS and Endpoint are going to follow that up, but I do know this. If you're an Evil Geniuses fan, if you're a Solary fan, buckle up, because it's about to be a wild, wild ride. Our final upper bracket match of the day, BDS Endpoint, coming your way right after this.